Hi guys, this is Lover Maniac and I'm dropping today my... There we go. Nezbitt character deck profile of Virtual World Arc. Now, to say it, presumably you can maybe even guess it. I'll drop down right now one of the antagonists. I could have been started with the first one of the big five that Yugi was fighting against, namely Gensly, but I was right in the row with Duke, Devlin, and Serenity Wheeler, and then I dropped Tier Gardner because the lacking 2 cards, which I already mentioned, or 3 even, which did not arrive until now. So I jumped ahead at that point. I'm still waiting for the cards to arrive, and as a result of that, I thought it might be appropriate to now take the first antagonist instead of waiting so long for the Tristan cards, the very ones I was just mentioning. What can I say about this character right here? Well, as a matter of fact, it was one of the big five which deliberately wanted one of the companions' bodies in order to flee out of the virtual world into reality. And he was one of the villains of this saga which was fully responsible for the segment of creating machine type weapons for the Kaiba. So deadly weapons as his theme, so his deck master was the Robotic Knight, as you might see. And that Robotic Knight had the ability to put down the effect on making effect damage on the opponent by discarding, I think, machine type monsters from his hand, which was called the final artillery bombardment. Later on, he did fuse this monster card with another one, namely the Machine King. So the morph form of those two fusion monsters was the perfect Machine King. So we're putting these 2 cards on the front as, of course, deck masters, because first of all he was Robotic Knight, and later on he also, but then as he fused this one, he did become the perfect Machine King. Then further on into his monsters, I put in there the Machine King prototype, which was not shown in the anime, but I presume he could have it, as it is a logical development from this one, or you could even say it's a pre-state of this one, as this one is stronger. I mean, the Perfect Machine King has 2,700 attack and 1,500 defense. In comparison to that, the prototype Machine King has 1,600 attack, 1,500 defense, but no tribute and 3 stars. Then, as I already said, he was one of the very leader which was responsible for the part of the deadly weapons, machine time weapons, such as air weapons, for example, and robot type weapons, and so further. So I put in there, which he had not in the anime, but I might be very fitting into this deck, which is the hard supporting mech tank. It's an onion monster. You can equip it to another monster you have, and then it has a certain effect, which of course is to special summon it either or equip it to one of your monster cards, and then your monsters cannot be targeted for an attack. Then further on I have a hard support mech, which is, you could say, maybe the pre-state of it, which has a comparable effect. Then further on, more of these air type, machine type monsters, such as Victory Viper XX03 and Falcon Beta, Jade Knight, Delta Tri, all of those are aircraft, of course, Blue Thunder T45, and the Megajet Lord British. Now, to cover that segment of aircraft, but there will be some aircraft more which even played out, but I have to search for them first. Of course, one of them, which was very significant and used by many others as well, at least one, I think maybe two, is Gradius, as well as combined with it, as the name says, Gradius option. Now we go further. There are just no aircraft. I have even one of the aircrafts left, which is Big Core. I have a very personal link with that card, as I had since I was a teenager back in the days. I possessed that card. I even draw it from the booster of Ancient Sanctuary, I think it was, or Rise of Destiny. Rise of Destiny. So I had it fresh from the booster and put it into my deck. Then further on, cards which he not clearly had, but was put into play as he played out the effect of his Deckmaster, was the Earthbound Buckroth, as well as Overdrive, tank, Cyber Falcon, and then a card which he did play it, as a matter of fact, play out, was Gigatech Wolf. So, and let's go further. I put in there Ducker the Mobile Cannon, which of course is a machine flip type monster. He didn't play it out, but it's very appropriate. I think it was even shown in his deck list, which I did research. Another card which was shown in his deck list as well was the Cannon Soldier. Further on, I put in there Patrol Robo. I can even say something about that. I mean, in terms of value, this one is from the Tournament Pack 3. I think it's another $10 or something at least. So, and it's not that often, so it's logical to say that it is rare. Then another one, because he was very focused on his work for the Kaiba Corporation on military machines, as Card Cavalryst, as well as DD Spy plane. Then further on, maybe from the ground machines, you have Electro Tank, Machine Lord Fossil Dragon, the Doppel Mode Beast. And a card which I thought fit to this deck and was just printed and as well as at the same time imported from the OCG first since 25 years. It was already existing in the OCG but not in the TCG. It's a machine type monster, so I thought maybe I could put this one as well in this deck, and it looks a little bit like a Robo, so yeah, it's appropriate. And of course it does work with the engine of this deck. And the card which I'm talking about is Goyle. Now, these were his monster cards, of course. I will let these specific 3 cards on there because it was his deck master from now on, and as into the deck master system dive deep in, I will let them there because they are very significant and essential for a duel and the virtual world arc. So let's go further with the spell cards. I put in there Iron Draw 3 times because yeah, it's works with machine type monsters. You can discard 1 and then can draw 2 cards. He didn't have that, but it's appropriate to that machine type based deck. Card of Sanctity, of course, which I think I'm referring to the anime he played out, as well as one of the staples which were in this arc. Many of the protagonists played this one out, which is Dimension Hole. Paralyzing Potion, which paralyzes a monster equipped to that spell card, but all monsters except for machine type monsters. Machine Factory, Iron Call, works also with machine type monsters. Machine Tank Unity, Fusion Recycling, Fusion Recyclement, Clockwork Knight. Now these 2 cards, which as well the Fusion one Recycling card as well as Clockwork Knight, he played clearly out into the enemy. Air Cracking Storm, Nitro Unity, Autonomous Special Forces, Machine Duplication 2 times, 1 Limiter Removal, Energetic Capsule, which works with the Victory Viper XSY 3, Gravity Blaster, and as a staple, Monster Reborn. Now these were his spell cards. Now onto the trap cards. As I already mentioned, these cards had skills which were deckmaster skills. You don't have them in the TCG, but you have a trap card which works similar, namely full shot 2 times. I put in there. If you discard monsters, I think you put 200 damage for each onto your opponent effect damage. Then further on, 2 cards which he played out was 1 Ryoku Field. Another one he possessed in his deck was Backup Soldier. So he recycled his monsters then. 1 card which you might have imagined that he had this, but it wasn't in his deck, but it is very based on the engine that Nesbitt banned Tristan Taylor as he lost the duel into that acid. It looks very like the fall which Tristan had to endure, so I put in the acid trap hole also in there. I have 1 trap card which is Last Attack Assault, it works like in Spell Cup, which was in the anime, namely Circuit Break was called. The opponent's monsters were all switched into a attack position. Was the effect, and that card has a similar effect. Then Iron Crab Metal I put in there. It has the mechanics to. It has the mechanics and ability to negate a monster attack of your opponent. Yeah. But it has further on the good effect to that it's not put into the graveyard but put face down onto your side of the field. Then, as we were working on with machine type monsters, Malfunction, an import from the Bandit Keith deck that I had, but its Malfunction is something you say in relation to machines, so it's very appropriate. Like this card, Machine King 3000 BC, which special summons a machine type monster with 3000 defense, I think. No, 1000 effect and 1000 attack. Yeah, but like it's called like one of his monster cards. It's very appropriate to that deck. Then I'll also put in there Widespread Ruin, which also has a machine like a futuristic machine on the front, and has of course a attack negating effect, as well as two imports from the Bandit Keith deck, Security Orb, which of course if you see the artwork is very proper to that machine type based deck. Then Cyber Summon Blast, which also is an import from the Bandit Keith deck, but it's also works I think with machine type monsters, yeah. So it's also appropriate to that deck. And Broken Line, last but not least. Also in the artwork, 3 or 4 machine type monsters on it. Now, this was that. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hit the like and subscribe button, and of course stay tuned for more content to come. I'm very eager to finish off that arc, and as I already said, hesitating to go further, but now I can't wait for the arrival for eternity, so I'm very eager and ambitious to go on with what I have left here, and decks and cards. And if it's not for Tristan Taylor's cards to come early, I will then I think maybe put the next antagonist into play, which will be then Gansley. So we go back into the row and then start with Gansley. I hope you guys enjoyed, like I said, and tell me corrections, critiques, comments about this very gentleman Nezbitt, what you think about them, what you think about the deck in general, and maybe you can tell me some improvements I can make, or maybe lacking some appropriate cards into that deck, for example. Give me advice in that term, would be very helpful, and as you can of course comment or give me critiques in general, what I can improve. And I wish all of you a good night, and bye. Your Slatomaniac.